Live from New York.
Some hot baseball takes.
I mean, just too hot. Like
Gianna, put this in the question.
It could be, yeah.
Is our friend Alex Rodriguez
better than Ted Williams?
Was he better than Ted Williams? Is that? The Ted Williams wasn't really the debate. But was it?
Was he top? Is he top five of all time? I don't think.
And I love A-Rod. I don't want to dim A-Rod's candle.
Of course. And I wasn't even saying he was definitively top five. I said he's in the argument.
In the argument.
Essentially, the question was this: is Alex Rodriguez a better all-time baseball player than Aaron Rodgers is all-time football player? My answer to that is obviously yes. And the question is it debatable? It's not. I mean, these are champagne arguments.
That's a good argument.
Yeah.
That's
I think you can make an argument that Aaron Rodgers can be on the Mount Rushmore of like football
quarterback
throwers. You know, maybe not like accomplishments-wise, but people talk about greatest of all time.
I mean, he's second in MVPs.
You very quickly get to Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
There's a lot of baseball. The's a lot of
These would be good for outtakes.
Yeah.
Giannis,
we should start the show.
Outtakes.
Are we on the air yet?
That was just a we start with Warriors pulling out the win. Steph pulls a hamstring. It's a grade 1. He's expected to be out for at least a week. After the game, Jimmy talked about Steph, and Draymond talked about Jimmy. Okay, Brew, can the Warriors win this series without Steph?
No.
Oh,
now, I said yesterday that I thought Minnesota would win. I thought it'd be close, and it's kind of a pick 'em, but I thought Minnesota would win with Steph. Now, yesterday changed my mind on that because of what the Warriors are and what the T-Wolves aren't, which we saw yesterday. I think with Steph for 7 games, Golden State would have won this series. Now, of course, that's not going to happen. So, best case scenario, they're saying it's, grade 1, 2 weeks-ish. Drew Holiday was out a little less than 2 weeks, 3 games he missed. So let's say Steph can get back for game 6, because that's what the hope is in the Bay Area.
Because they play Thursday, Saturday, Monday, Wednesday.
Right. And then they got 3 days off until Sunday.
Exactly right.
So best case scenario I see is Warriors down 3-2.
Yeah.
I think they'd be doing great if they could get there down 3-2. Now, if they're somehow up 3-2, they're going to win it if Steph comes back, because obviously the T-Wolves are would be showing you they're not ready. What I'll say for Warriors fans out there, like, this is what has to happen to get to that scenario of down 3-2, or maybe if you can be up. Buddy Hield, who's streaky, has got to ride a hot streak. He has got to remain on this heater, right? First 6 games against Houston, he averaged, I think, 7 points.
Yeah, and now he's been good.
All right, last 2 games, he's averaged 28. He's got to stay hot, and Jimmy Butler has to remain great and be playoff Jimmy. Now, look, Butler carried 2 Miami Heat teams with not much help to the NBA Finals. Yep. All right, that first team, you had Bam, you had Goran Dragic. It was a young Tyler Hero in 2020 in the bubble. Second year in 2023, Tyler Hero was out.
Yep.
You had Bam Adebayo, Gabe Vincent, Caleb Martin, Max Strus,
who was good.
Yes, but averaged 9 points. I mean, so Butler has shown that he's special, obviously, in the playoffs. So he's got to be special like every game. And then, of course, like I said, Buddy Hield. But no, they can't win it without Steph.
No, listen, I didn't think it was a mismatch, but I thought the Timberwolves were considerably better than the Warriors going into the series. Last night, obviously, the Warriors were exceptional defensively. And the Timberwolves had their second straight, in my opinion, kind of bad offensive game. Now, against the Lakers didn't matter. And if you want to add a little more for the hopium for the Warriors fans, they've been really good historically in the playoffs without Steph Kerr.
Yeah.
Now, those were, in my opinion,
some of that was with Durant.
Right, and the other ones were with because he missed time, I think, the 73-win season in the playoffs briefly. In fact, I know, because he came back and in that game against Portland had 17 in overtime. And screamed, "I'm back!" in the en route to the finals. But here's the Warriors without Steph in the playoffs, 9-3. I mean, it's great numbers. Now again, that is a very different team than the one they have had post Durant.
All of those, right? I assume came.
Every single one of those.
One of the hot,
right. Every single one of those came before the
fourth
before this last iteration. I also want to say one thing nice about the only polarizing member of the dynasty for fans, for Warriors fans, the head coach. He's awesome, man. And his ability on the fly to just, it's one thing if you know, like the Cavs knew last night, we're out 3 guys. Right. You know what I mean? It's another thing when Steph is playing great, doesn't have like a lingering injury you're worried about, and just out of nowhere gets hurt, and all of a sudden you're pressing the playing 13 guys button and getting Pat Spencer involved, all of it. I think Kerr's awesome. And I think the Warriors fans that try to convince themselves they'd have 7 titles without Kerr instead of maybe only 2 without Kerr, I think are out of their mind. I think he is a legendary coach.
Yeah, I quickly about that. It is an asinine argument to say Steve Kerr's not a fantastic coach.
All-time great.
He's not perfect. Nobody's perfect. We can point to Phil Jackson, Greg Popovich, Larry Brown, anybody who's made mistakes. But to act like he's not great is ridiculous.
So that is for Warriors fans that this afternoon are bummed out. With that said, I think they are now drawing close to dead. I think that
even if he gets back for Game 6.
Yeah, right. Because I don't think a player, and this is a testament to Steph's conditioning and Steph's work ethic and Steph's ability to stay healthy. He's never suffered a muscle strain.
Right.
I couldn't believe that when I saw it. And so even if he comes back in Game 6, what they ask him to do of the running around like that and the load he has, is he going to be that guy? And this is, for the Warriors, in my opinion, the sad tax on the end of the season, the bad couple nights against Houston, and where they're going, every other night, high-intensity games, game after game after game after game, it's sadly caught up to the guy they asked the most out of. You seem, just from your facial expression, to think we're too pessimistic here.
Well, I just saw them win in Minnesota. So I'm like, can that happen? Can they get 3 more of those? Or do you
without Steph? They can't.
I mean, I don't think they would have won last night without Steph.
Saw it.
No, I don't think so. Because he scored 13 points in the first quarter and a half. I don't think if he would have suffered that injury on the first play of the game, I don't actually think they won last night without Steph.
They had 30. How many points? They had 31 points at halftime.
Yeah, I do think they won without Steph. Like, I thought when he got hurt, it was over. What were they up? Maybe 13, 15? Like, that's nothing.
No, I agree with you. No. I thought it was impressive they held on without him. My point is he helped them build the lead. And the other piece of that is, if we are, again, going to be kind of, I think, fair in the analysis, having Steph leave the game with injury doesn't hurt the Warriors' defense. Well,
that's what I'm saying. They would have to turn from the Steph show to the defense wins championship show, which right now, Jimmy and Draymond, I mean, when Jimmy showed up those 31 games, they had the best defense. They've held 2 wins against the Rockets under 90, and last night under 90 of the Wolves, who were supposed to be explosive, and Anthony Edwards was cold for half the game.
For them to be so great defensively with your big man, Draymond, essentially 6'6", 6'7", whatever he is, that's incredible. And a bit of an indictment on today's big men, seriously, but it's incredible.
All right, we'll turn our attention to Anthony Edwards. Entered Game 1 with the confidence of a guy who knocked Luka and LeBron out of the playoffs despite a rough shooting night. Last night, cold streak continued. 1 point in the first half and 22 in the second. Brewery reaction to that exchange.
Well, first, I don't think there's any beef. I mean, anybody trying to say, oh, Ant's going to be upset with Chris Finch. This is how Chris Finch coaches. He challenges his players. They respond. Ant and that staff are great. There's a saying, your greatest strength is oftentimes your greatest weakness. And I feel like we see that with Anthony Edwards. The things that make us love him, the jovial personality, the charisma, the smile, kind of living in the moment, all of that is a great strength, and that's why we love him. But it's also like, I thought in this press conference, I didn't like the demeanor of not just him, mainly him, though. He was up there with Naz Reid and Julius Randle. I didn't like the demeanor in the press conference. I don't need to see the smile. When you just blew it against a team that has one bona fide bucket. One, and that includes Jimmy Butler. One bona fide bucket, he gets hurt in the first half, and you lose going away, and y'all up there smiling, acting like it's no big deal? Seriously. He should have been pissed. All right, can I say that? Ticked. Yeah. He should have been ticked, whatever it is.
You are allowed to say it. I don't know if you personally are allowed to
say it. I don't think it's a curse word, obviously. But he should have been ticked off. You think Kobe, Jordan, Steph, LeBron would have been up there all like it was no big deal?
Can I just, for the audience, because we're going to play more of the press conference later when they're laughing about the missed threes. So if people haven't seen the full press conference, then they might think that you're reacting to a different clip.
No, it's the whole
It's the entirety, and we'll play more of it later where he is more a kind of happy-go-lucky is what I would say.
Yeah. You don't need to see that. And y'all know how I love Ant.
Yes.
But this may even play into why he's so inconsistent, because he is for your superstar. I mean, like, one game he looks, he'll have 40 points. The next game he'll shoot 35%. And then maybe the next 2 games. And then come back and and I get it, he's young and all of that. So I want to give grace there. But I just, I'm looking at them as, can they win a championship this year?
Of course.
Because it's right there for them. I mean, OKC looks vulnerable. Denver obviously can be beaten. And they should wipe Golden State out. It shouldn't even get to a Game 6 without Steph. And I'm just saying I didn't like seeing all that.
Wow. So, listen, I'm now in a weird spot because I had, we all kind of plan, we prep, we know what we're going to say. And I was going to, in this instance, do a juxtaposition between Ant and Tatum and ask Wild some questions. But I think Wild is mad at me, so I don't know if this is going to go well. All right, so audience, just we'll see how this goes.
I'm not mad.
Well, I'm not sure about that, buddy.
I took a little bit too far.
So I'm not sure. I thought that, he was brutal in this game, just like Tatum was in his first game. And I think it's not an indictment on them as players, it's an indictment on their game. And I think that if either one of those guys had played to their standards, their teams would have won those games. And we can show you that their numbers are shockingly similar, except Ant, despite all of it, obviously was more efficient, and Ant's struggles came early while Tatum's came late. Now, I do think sometimes that can be an overrated thing at times because, yes, Ant turned it on late, but the reason they were down 23 was because he had 1 point in the first half, and which built them that entire hole. And so I know that you, Kevin Wilds, this is the risky part, audience.
No, go ahead. I have an interesting
thought that Jason Tatum was really good in Game 1, and that the media doesn't know how to talk about him.
Not true.
And that we're both like potential face of the league guys who could they do it? And you thought you liked Tatum's Game 1.
No, I did not.
I'm just
that's
curious.
Not true. I did not like his Game 1. What I liked was his commitment to the identity of the team. And this is, and I can't figure out what this is macro, so I'll throw it to the table and see what you think. On my little sheet I wrote, opposite of Tatum, he won't keep shooting. So once I felt like he came into this game 0 for 11 from 3, he was 1 for 5. At a certain point, he's like, I got to get to the basket. He started missing little gimmies, and he was doing layups. Kenny Smith wanted.
Yeah.
Tatum is almost like, and I know we joke around with this, almost like a blackjack player who's like, this is the right call regardless. Where Ant will start to leave his
But I think
game.
that can
Does that
be
make sense?
I get it, but basketball, as much as my pal Daryl Morey tried to turn it into it, basketball isn't blackjack. And sometimes you do need to adjust, and this is Bruce's point, from what is over 1,000 attempts the right thing to we need a bucket right now.
Yeah.
And and that piece of it. Now, again, if I can take the bit a little further, because I do have a theory, Brew, because the loyal First Things First watchers will remember. Once upon a time, there was one Jason Tatum critic on this show. it's that guy.
It's true.
How many times do we hear about 100 turnovers?
Yeah, 100
And
turnovers.
once
Can I say something?
What?
That's not critical.
That's okay.
If I'm like, hey, it's 72 degrees outside, you're like, this guy.
You are right.
Hating on New York's climate. Like,
Yeah,
but
it
the
is
way
what it
you
is.
But the
said
way
it was
you
critical.
said it,
You
you
were
were
down on
and,
it.
right,
had
and the
100
way
You were down on
there's a billion facts you can choose to focus on.
Yeah,
you
were down
focused on that one, and there was also
Before
a
the
time.
ring. That was
there
before the
was
ring.
also a time when Wilds was the show's Anthony Edwards guy.
Yes.
That has since
That's not
changed, and the audience might, if they watch
also the Ja
closely.
guy.
Yeah,
I
I know.
changed to Anthony
I got
Edwards.
Ja and
exactly.
I don't know.
But
I'm
remember,
keeping them both.
I think people have forgotten what happened. And so I just wanted to remind the audience. This was the moment. We have a timestamp moment of the time Wilds flipped from being an Ant guy to being a Tatum guy. And it was when Ant made fun of Kevin
That was
Wilds in his
actually good for me.
Adidas commercial. And so ever since,
yeah.
you forgot. Now all
when I
of a
was a
sudden,
Jamal Murray guy.
Ant can't be the face of the league, but LaMelo Ball and Tatum can be.
LaMelo Ball. I'm just saying, LaMelo Ball's game translates to the younger
He
generation.
got to start winning at least a
Okay.
couple games
I'm
a
just
year.
saying, I think the Timberwolves are going to be fine, and I think that.
But now, do you think that if Steph were
Oh,
healthy,
I think it was good. Listen, you don't want to lose home court in the first game, but I still think that this is where I want to be very careful with my words before we get to the next game. I was building into my math on picking the Timberwolves that one of the Warriors' older players, every other night 7-game tough series, that they not that they would miss a week,
Yeah,
but that
you
they, no,
there's
that's
no
not
way
what I'm
you baked in
saying.
anything
No,
like
but
that.
you know what I mean, that they would
Jimmy
wear
had
down.
quiet games.
Right.
Well, I would say, I
think
thought
that's
Steph
fair
was going to have a
analysis.
quiet game
Yeah.
or two.
Right.
But quiet or not there,
Yeah,
obviously.
no, of course.
Yeah. So I think, and you guys know how much I love Ant, and I think he can be a face of the league. I still think he's young and the immaturity. I just felt like that press conference, the reaction to a horrible loss.
I knew you were gonna love it.
Just wasn't
I knew.
what
Once
I
I saw
wanted to
that
see.
quote.
Is he yet mature enough basketball-wise to win a championship? That's what I'm wondering now.
Head over to the East. Chaotic ending in Cleveland. Might be the end of the Cavs. 47 seconds left. Here's what happens. Nesmith puts back a dunk. Halliburton, they end up getting the ball back. He gets his own rebound. Halliburton pulls it out and then drains a three and then gets fined for a celebration, undoubtedly. What do you think the story was here? The Cavs collapsing or the Pacers having a great comeback?
Both. And that's not a cop-out.
A little bit, but
No,
you're right.
because here's
it's
why.
It's a cop-out, but it's correct.
Because both were historic.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to belittle the collapse of the Cavs or what was a phenomenal play by the Pacers, and then especially Halliburton. The Cavs, I was proud of them as a guy that picked them and from Cleveland. Proud of them for the first 47 minutes of the game. Even as they were letting the lead go, they were up 7 with a minute left. Like, for them to not have 2 of their 3 best players, Evan Mobley and Darius Garland out, and then DeAndre Hunter's been valuable for him. And then to be up 20 and even holding that lead like they're going to win, I was proud of them.
And Ty Jerome was terrible.
Yeah,
He's 1
right.
for 14.
It was Donovan was
Right.
the man.
Yeah.
All right, Donovan Mitchell. But in that last minute, the 2 turnovers, offensive foul, Donovan
That
Mitchell.
could have been a flagrant.
Max Strus, not being able to get the ball in bounds. And then I started playing basketball organized in 4th grade. The first
1960.
thing the coaches told us,
Box out the
it
shooter.
was in the 70s.
Thank you.
The first thing, box out the shooter. They not only didn't do it once, they did it twice. Neesmith's dunk, I don't know if that. Donovan didn't block him out. Now, Donovan just got outsmarted because they both came from the backcourt, so to speak, and Neesmith just outsmarted him. This next one on the game-winning play is unforgivable. And again, I hate to say it was Donovan. Donovan was in the position where he's supposed to block out the shooter. He didn't do it. He goes to the rim. And Halliburton, man, the dude is I told y'all, I love the kid. I don't know what the players are talking about, overrated. I know now they can't be saying that. But he is clutch, and look at this graphic. I almost had him on my clutch ballot as 2nd or 3rd.
He's 10 of 11. It's
10 of
crazy.
11, what is that, to tie or take the lead in the final 2 minutes of fourth quarter over. 10 of 11?
Yeah.
Murray and Brunson are phenomenal
That'd
on
be
that, but 10
unbelievable
of
if it were free
11?
throws. Right.
Yes, yeah, you're right. It'd be great for free throws. So yeah, both of them, I can't take away from either one.
So this is why I said it was a cop-out, but I agree. Because Cleveland didn't get the ball past half court in the final minute. They get a shot. Yep. They couldn't get it past half court. And they got lucky that Donovan didn't get a flagrant.
For which one?
Yeah.
When they got the inbound, he got the offensive foul by Donovan. They reviewed it to see if it was a flagrant. And it was, I think that's a flagrant.
They might have called it earlier in the game.
That's what I was about to say. I think that's a flagrant if it happens any time outside of the final minute of the game. But here's where you give the Pacers credit. Since they have been tracking such things nearly 30 years ago, down 7 in the final minute. Go show the graphic if we could. Prior to this past week, all of NBA history, it was the Chris Paul Oklahoma City meltdown game. Was the one win. Wow. Remember that game 10 years ago when Chris tried to draw the foul against Westbrook?
All out of sorts.
1 and 1,694. The Pacers twice in a week have done it. Twice. It's unbelievable. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get more from the show and to check out clips from other shows on FS1.